Despite knowing that this is a dangerous act that violates the criminal law, he lectures the believers' families about the need for protection, and persuades them to be kidnapped and imprisoned. After leaving the group, he refuses to face the suffering of his former members and pretends he doesn't know. As clergymen, don't they have any sense of guilt? Last discussion. Asako and Misa talked about the problems of the Unification Church at Tatsuka Church's study sessions, and took every opportunity to plead with them. But we want them to stop trying to persuade us to protect them. Kuratori was pushing Norin's arm, but he still said, "It's better to stop protecting people on the street like Asako." It looked like Asako and her friends' earnest wishes had come true. The atmosphere in the church completely changed after Kuratori Shimizu was sued by Rie Yamada in early 1999. As mentioned above, a lawsuit was filed for damages on the grounds of abduction on the street and forced apostasy while in captivity. The Tatsuka Church has united with the slogan, "Protect Mr. Kuratori, who has been indebted to us, and let's win the trial." The Japanese Christian Church, to which the two men belong, has also set up a support system and started a campaign. Asako attended the trial because she wanted to know Rai-san's suffering. At a supporters meeting held after the trial, he appealed, "The Unification Church is a problem, but confinement was really painful at the very least. I want the forced street protection to be stopped." Then the parents of the quitters started shouting insults. "What are you saying? Are you on the side of the Unification Church, or Mr. Black Swan?" Since then, Kuratori begins to distance himself from Asako and the others. When Asako called, Kuratori wanted to hang up. The phone calls from study group members, who had frequently called my parents until then, also stopped. 2 years later, in December 2001, Asako and the others and Kuratori have a final discussion at Asako's abattoirs. At first, Kuratori said, "I was worried about everyone." But when the topic of abduction and confinement came up, he became angry, saying, "Why am I being made to carry this burden?" Hiromi, who was also present, admonished Kuratori, saying, "Don't you understand that Asako-san and the others have been through so much pain?" After a long silence, Kuratori suddenly burst into tears. "I did something I'm sorry for." "Well then, please excuse me." Since then, there has been no word from him to this day, even though he had promised Asako that he would take responsibility until the end. The doctor in charge sees the cause of Asako's complex PTSD as follows. In addition to having his physical freedom restricted by being abducted and confined against his will, his freedom of religion was forcibly taken away day and night, and furthermore, he had a sense of trust that he was confined by his closest immediate family. I believe that this also includes the experience of being betrayed and the collapse of the company. Among the imprisoned believers, some tried to escape by drinking detergent in Kyoto, others also drank disinfectant in the toilet in Tokyo, and others jumped from a balcony on a high floor to escape and still suffer from the aftereffects. Hyogo, and some committed suicide while in captivity, Kyoto. Despite knowing that this is a dangerous act that violates the criminal law, he lectures the believers' families about the need for protection, and persuades them to be kidnapped and imprisoned. After leaving the group, he refuses to face the suffering of his former members and pretends he doesn't know. As clergymen, don't they have any sense of guilt? What do Pastors Kuratori and Shimizu and Pastor Takazawa think about this issue in which they are involved? I have requested interviews several times, but to this day, he has remained silent. One of the lawyers supporting them, who made a name for himself as an anti-cultist, said at a meeting of the Japan Anti-Cult Association, of which Kuratori and Shimizu are also members, "We may receive an interview request from Yonemoto. But there is not enough. Please be careful," he said. The interview, which lasted more than 10 hours, was often interrupted by the mother's tears. In the end, through Kuratori Sensei's mind control, we were made to believe that the only way to leave the group was through protective persuasion. As a result, Asako was deeply hurt. By imprisoning her sister, she was also hurt. Even if I regret it, I won't be able to regret it. Parents hanging their heads. Even though 9 years have passed since she left the group, Asako still cannot return to society. Suddenly, the words victims of religious wars came to mind. And no one pays any attention to that.